Alright, so here's a battle I just played of Napoleon Total War on the map Amazon Confluence, which I don't really have a lot of experience with, so it was kind of interesting trying it out a bit. Anyway, I'm playing as GB, and my opponent, a fellow by the name of Rexus, played as Russia. So, first and foremost, one thing is that I didn't quite realize that this little area is in my deployment zone. I didn't look over there enough. If I had, I probably would have started some of my troops here. Anyway, so let's just take a look at builds real quick. And I'm doing this while it's paused, because this one develops pretty quickly. So I've got, my standard 5 lights, 2 of them being King's German Legion. I've got 2 King's German Legion foot, and then 6 regular foot, 2 Highland, a fencible militia, 2 dragoons, a light dragoons, and my general. My opponent, on the other hand, I don't know if I can see all of his troops or not. I think at this point I can. He's got his militia over here. He's got 4 gun cav, 5 lights, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Yeah, 9 infantry and gen staff. Now, one thing that I think we both overdid it on infantry. I'm going to go ahead and unpause real quick so you can see how things develop. So you can see right away, like, I go ahead and have these guys start running here and these guys start running here to occupy these forests without even really worrying about their formation at first. Figuring I can fix the formation later. I just want to get everyone moving. Man, if I had guys already here, that would have been super helpful, and then I could have moved them up to take, like, this hill in this forest. Or something. I don't know. But in this match, you'll kind of see me sticking to my philosophy, for the most part, that forests are better than hills, all else being equal. And you see he's definitely... having gun cav is super helpful on terrain maps, because you can move forward and occupy the important terrain features. I don't think he actually does a great job of that. Also, I think he should have placed more of his troops up here so he could kind of rush across here and... I don't know. Or maybe even go here and try to, like, put pressure on these woods, just a few, instead of having them all be back here. This, I think, gives me a bit of an advantage early on. So you see what I do right here is I'm content to let these calves sit in the woods for now. And I'm expecting he's going to kind of do the same when he's not rushing forward to, say, secure this hill. But you'll see pretty quickly. I'm going to fast forward for just a sec. And you see he's getting his infantry into their positions. He does something that I think... I'm going to go ahead and unpause it because I think it's about to happen. Yep. He goes ahead and charges all his cav here. And I think this is a mistake. First of all, the hill and the hill here. I don't remember if they actually blow their shot. No, they actually crest the hill before they blow their shots, so that's good. But this forest means that they're not going to get great hits. And also, I've got like a bunch of infantry support here. I've got a good number of cav. So you can see, like, he gets into a, fight here with my cav. Meanwhile, I'm taking these woods uncontested. He's having them all charge in against my my heavy dragoons, and now I've got a bunch of infantry here that I'm like kind of redeploying how their formation works. By the way, though, when I said like it would have been helpful to have guys here, you can see I would have, instead of these guys being like, oh, what do I do with them? They would have been like forming this nice little U already. Regardless, I turn these infantry around and start getting shots in on their flank, and I bring these dragoons around to get on the flank of his cav. Like, he did some disruption here, so I guess maybe what he's thinking is like, while it's super disrupted, I'll push up here, take the hill. He manages to get into these KGL out of square, but like his mounted rifles are super fucked up themselves. Here, I push up to the edge of the wood so he can't get any of the cover bonus. The hill's protecting him a little bit, but not enough. Honestly, these militia are so far forward, I probably should have charged them. And I managed to save these dragoons. I need to be very careful because I only have 3 cav. As I mentioned, I think I overcommitted on infantry. Here, though, like, trying to take this hill, as seems to be his strategy, isn't working too well for him. He's getting outflanked here. I've got the woods, which will provide good cover. I'm getting good shots with my 3 lights here against those 5, but they're spread out and in cover. You should also put them in skirmish formation. My infantry being here support is definitely good, but now he's getting his guys into these woods. I should have maybe considered moving forward and occupying these woods myself, but now it's too late for that. Still, so I'm just kind of reorganizing my army, bringing my cav back here, and I'm gonna also get these foot in a position to help a little bit. Fortunately, that hill makes this not great, but that means they can also kind of just protect against cav. And here, that's right, these are F3, so these only had 2. He honestly could have kept that fight going a bit better. Since he retreats his lights, I kind of retreat my foot here, thinking that, well, that'll just be exposed to fire from these woods. And this kind of gives us into the next phase. That's like phase 1 of the battle, right? So now phase 2, like, you know, and that's the I'll call it the battle for the central hill. That's phase 1 of this. And I think he's conceded that, you know, my position in the woods, these 2 sets of woods, is very strong. So this hill is in a great position for him. So phase 2 kind of ends up being over this right flank of mine, which you'll see. I mean, right now he's retreating back. I probably should have taken the opportunity. You see in both these places I have, oh yeah, I do begin advancing on my left, because I kind of, you know, GB versus Russia, like, if you're making it a skirmisher battle, you're doing okay. And he retreats there. While this is happening, what I probably should be doing, like, I have these Highland foot here that are doing these sensibles. I should extend this line further out, get into these woods, get into these woods, get these guys here, you know, basically keep up the pressure. You know, I could do pretty well, have units here, have a few further back here, have some here. But I'm not quite aggressive enough to do that, and that means that a lot of my infantry end up going to waste. That being said, we can do a little bit of fast forwarding, and here I'm thinking, okay, I'll bring up all my lights and kind of make it a light-on-light battle over here. So you can see my dots. Here, I'm currently stopping just outside of the woods, but pretty shortly. This is kind of me just getting in position. You'll see I push up a little bit more, yeah, like this, and try to get them inside the woods. So let's go ahead and hit play. You see he gets some fire off there. And yeah, like I said, if I would have taken, you know, these guys in, for example, I could have stretched a line way out here, gotten into these woods. And that would have worked out a lot better for me. But for right now, this light-on-light battle is going to be in my favor. So my opponent, he sees this. He sees he has to make a move. So he's bringing up his 2 lifeguard foot and musket. All right, not all his foot were actually musketeers. He had 2 lifeguard foot in there. And you know he's got the meat shield, so that's actually pretty good play on his part. I'm moving mine in, but they're not soon enough. They're not there yet. But still, this is going pretty well for me. But here, like, this is a good advance for him. He's got 3 units, 2 of them elite, against my 2. And that's where if I had this line stretching out better, like, that wouldn't really be helpful. And now I see kind of... And this is like where I think where I'm really solidly in the second phase. So I've got skirmishing on the left, but really the battle is over the right. Something like, oh, bring in some cav maybe to help balance things out, bring in more infantry. But see, this is a really awkward line to be making. I've got units here, and I don't really know what to do, and like this can get outflanked where that wouldn't be an issue if I had occupied these forests when I had the chance. But regardless, I'm like, okay, I'll just have this weird line. But he's obviously going to win this battle at the rate things are going. And here we both do our cav charges at the same time, so they kind of meet in the middle. I do form square, and these reserve troops then are able to do pretty good against his gun cav, who are already depleted from his initial bonsai charge. But here you see now my right is breaking. And I'm like, okay, I've got some guns going here. I'll try to charge through, force them into square. But my troops aren't actually quite up far enough to super take advantage of that. Meanwhile, those KG are getting flanked, so I have to even retreat them back. And my line on the right is just a disorganized mess. He's swung around a musketeers here to support the light battle, which I charge with my dragoons, who are pretty hurt, and also charging through the woods, so that's not great. I do catch him out of square, but not with a solid charge. Here I try to reorganize a little bit, use this ridge for some protection. My dragoons route. And see, like, these 2 foot, if I had cav instead, like, this would be way more helpful here, I think. There's a lot of places I could use, could send cav up the middle here to support this light-on-light fight. Especially now that he's bringing his musketeers into range that they'll have blown their shots. Still, these musketeers are doing a pretty good job. I bring my general in to do a rally of all these troops. That was a good move. And here, my foot come back from routing pretty quick, so I bring them around to get behind his musketeers. He rallies his troops as well. But overall, this is going okay. Yeah, definitely should have sent my cav, even the ones that I still have. Like, these guys, my light cav are coming back from routing, but it's going to take a while.
Our men are running, sir.
But here, like, he's definitely on the offensive, whereas I'm kind of just skirmishing on the left. Here you see I'm like, okay, I'm going to charge through the woods again. He's trying to bayonet charge my skirmishers. And my cav actually managed to catch him pretty well in that respect, even though it's in the woods. And now he's taking fire from pretty good fire from these musketeers. I move these guys up to kind of help support this battle. I think he probably should have kept them firing here. And here I'm like, okay, I'll charge through and hit his lights. These ones are shattered. I should have re-targeted to the ones here instead. And I do that, but it's kind of too late. And he gets good shots against them here. I'm thinking, okay, have all my cav go against his lights. But the terrain just makes that not work so well, especially when they're tired. And here, oh yeah, he bayonet charged the guys I outflanked him with. That was a good move. And this kind of takes us into this part, right here. You see he's retreating. I did manage to get my heavy cav into his Jaegers, so that actually was pretty good. And this, he's starting to pull back on my left, his right. That actually might be premature, though I don't know. It works out. I think it's a good move. And this takes us into, I think, phase... This is starting to get us into phase 3 of the battle, but for now, we still got some pressure up here. So, phase 2.5. And here, he's pushing where he's got the advantage, but I managed to form a line that I think can defend pretty well. Now, he's got the numbers advantage, but this hill is somewhat in the way of getting lots of good fire. I'm shooting my guys in the back a bit here. And this is, again, what I mean when I say, like, I probably didn't really have I had too many infantry.
One of our units has used
I think that's, yeah, my lights used up their ammunition here. So now, this is phase 3 of the battle. He's retreated this part of his army here. And I guess what I mean with that being premature is now, let's do a bit of a pause. Oh, sorry, I know one of my subscribers said he doesn't like them so much, but this kind of creates him a bit of a problem. Because, you know, if we look at number of flags, like, we've both lost some units. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 combat units here, 3 here for a total of 11. Where I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've got more than him already. But what he's doing is he's isolating these and creating a defensible spot that can be used to cut them off. Which is what I do. So I kind of get into these woods a bit so he can't outflank me here if I get on these units' flank. These guys run, I get into a melee fight here. But like these guys running, I have a reserve unit that I can pretty quickly plug that hole with. I'm not too worried about that. Meanwhile, I'm kind of got up on his flank here. That melee charge does work out pretty well for him. Here, seeing that it's going to happen anyway, I just counter charge instead of form square. I don't expect... Like, he doesn't have any cav left, so I don't have to worry about him taking advantage of that. My KGL, they're losing, but they're doing okay. Here, like... I should honestly turn fire at will off on my Highlanders, but... Like, there's not actually really anything for me to worry about here. And I bring my general over to help support this. And, like, I kind of accept that I'm going to lose this bayonet fight, all else being equal. But here, like I said, I'm using the opportunity by this situation to take care of his detachment here. You know, and I can bring my general in. Suddenly, this isn't such a losing battle. My KGL can hold on for a bit against his lifeguard foot. I'm forming new lines to, you know, really help out with this. I do manage to rout one of his, and then he does a charge that I rally. Oh yeah, I charge... These are out of ammo, so I just charge them in to be a temporary disruption, get these guys not firing. And here, he's advanced a little bit. That's a good move on him, but I'm kind of now... It's too late, because, like, now I've routed these guys with fire support from these units. And I'm like, okay, I'll charge your lifeguard. If that would have happened, I would have managed that, like, say, 5 seconds earlier. While he was still in melee with my other troops, that would have been great. He does a bayonet charge there. I mean, one thing I kind of want to point out here is Russians aren't actually better in bayonets in sustained melee than other factions are. They just have an extra charge bonus. And like, yeah, I guess there's the morale bonus they have. So that's something that you gotta give them credit for. But, oh yeah, I pulled my general out just not to risk him. And have my Highlanders try to charge his lifeguards who are charging my other Highlanders. And here I'm just like, okay. I've moved up a bit more. In this case, I think these guys are in range of his lights, but not his foot, which are good. And here they're shooting at a bunch of, like, light foot in the woods. The melee, I get into melee with his musketeers, and I have a numbers advantage. And here I'm like, okay, gonna do the same thing. Just provide a momentary distraction while you're out of ammo. And this is actually a point where I'm a little bit worried in the battle in some way. I mean, I've taken over his flank, so I'm not too worried. But if he can quickly rout these guys, he might have a chance. I do an inspire unit to get the extra gun, you know, make him shoot better. And that's working out pretty well. He countercharges down there, which is fine by me. Like, that unit right now just exists to, you know, have these have units not firing on my guys that can still shoot back. So right here, I think I've got a pretty solid margin of victory. So I move around to outflank him, and he tries to reform. These foot won their battle, just, you know, numbers. Like, if you can survive a Russian bayonet initial charge, you can do okay in melee against them. And at this point, I'm pretty sure he sends the GG, but he wants to, you know, fight it out as well as he can. Here he makes a bit of a mistake, leaving his general so far forward. Here I've got him outflanked, and I'm in the woods. Not actually able to shoot anything because of the hill here, just shooting dirt. So here I'm like, okay, I'll push up. Still got a pretty good spot here. And here I'm moving up again and seeing his general staff leading from the front. That's admirable, I suppose. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna let him kite me. I'm just gonna push up pretty hard. But yeah, like at this point, he's still got Russian Jaegers, so I see why he's trying to kite. He gets off with his first shot. So what I really could have tried to do is get it just right, so I'm only in melee range of his general. Or not melee, gunfire range of his general. But no, I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna get up there, mix it up with him. I kill a lot of the bodyguard, and in fact, I kill the entire bodyguard. But the general manages to get away. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. Like, the general routing is bad for him. I managed to push off all his Jaegers, so kiting isn't really an option for him anymore. But at this point, like, you know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 combat units. He's got 2. Like, it doesn't matter. So here, I'm just like, okay, getting up on his flank. I'll fire 1 volley and then charge him. These 2 guys are comparatively full compared to some of mine, though. I mean, these 2 could take him on even terms. And I've got my general, but...
The men are fatigued, sir, and must rest a while.
Oh, those are all active and fresh. Fresh. So, you know, we've got... And this is the part where I'm like, okay, you're gonna try to run like that. I'm gonna go bayonets at you, not let you do that. He forms a square. And here I'm like, okay, I'll just get right up in your face. And shoot you to hell. And he, I think, tries to form a new line or something with that other guy. It doesn't really matter. Like, at this point, when you're getting at this close of a range with muskets, like, you're gonna fuck shit up pretty quickly. And they just drop like flies.
Glorious victory, sir, is soon to be
So here, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go around. And at this point, I just do full on. Everyone do the bayonets in a sec. Yep, bayonets. And that's the game. So a very good game to Rexus. In that stage 2, when you were kind of defeating my right flank, I thought you kind of had me. Or I was worried you were going to, but it was a very great back and forth. So good game, and thank you for playing me.